So, welcome to your pregnancy yoga class. We are going to begin in a seated, comfortable position. So grab your pillow and fold that up in half so that you can sit on it. There we go. And come into a kind of easy cross-legged position. If you're clicking your ankles together, that's going to give you a bit of pins and needles. So just have one foot closer in front of you and then the other a bit further away. So there's a little gap between the legs and that will hopefully stop you getting pins and needles. At any point, if you get uncomfortable, take a leg out, take both legs out, give your feet a wiggle, swap the legs around, just be comfortable. Okay, so let's make a start. Just a few shoulder rolls before we begin. So just taking the shoulders, squeezing them up to the ears, taking them down and back, and just getting into the upper body a little bit. And then leave the shoulders all the way open, so wide across the collarbones, and the points of the shoulder blades drawing down towards each other like a V coming together. We're going to go for something a little bit more grounding and restorative today because there was a lot of people talking about feeling a bit tired. So we're going to make a little connection between the thumb and the first finger, so like you're doing the OK sign, and then place the hands down onto the knees. So the fingers are wrapping around the knees. Relax the elbows, and then if you're comfortable with the eyes closed, go ahead and shut them. Otherwise, just kind of look down towards the floor in front of your feet and gently start to half close them so it feels like you're peering through your eyelashes. But if you're okay with closed eyes, go for that. We're just going to give ourselves a moment to settle and arrive for our practice. So it can be really good here just to take a couple of deep breaths in and out. Taking a big breath in through the nose if you haven't got a cold or hay fever. And a big sigh out through the mouth. Have a sense of breathing all the way to the fingertips and the toes and the crown of the head. So you feel really full of breath. And a big sigh, let it all go to relax. We'll do one more there. And then just allow the breath to come and go with its own natural rhythm. Tilt the chin down a few degrees and start to imagine leaning back against an imaginary wall. So it may be that the body just tilts back a millimetre or two, but you get the feeling that there's a wall behind you that you can rest into and just feel the back of the head lean against it and behind the shoulders. And then feel your weight pouring all the way down into your sitting bones. Let's notice the ground underneath us. So can you feel the edges of your legs and the edges of your feet, all the parts of your body that's touching the floor? Just notice that connection with the ground. And then just bringing your attention inside your toes. Feeling inside all 10 toes. Then notice inside your feet, inside your ankles. Just moving through the body one part at a time, feeling the length of your shins, relaxing your calves. Can you feel the inside of your knees? Maybe noticing the kneecaps at the front, or the soft, squidgy bit behind the knee. And then feeling into the thighs. So relaxing the muscles, the inner thighs, relaxing the bones. And then noticing maybe deep inside the hip sockets. Now moving into the tummy, can you soften the belly and just give your babies a little bit more wiggle room? And as you quietly just breathe in and out, see if you can extend the belly with your inhale. Just letting the belly press out in all directions, quite like a balloon inflating. And then as the breath leaves the body, just feel your belly kind of drop back in towards you. Inhaling, belly expanding. Exhale, belly contracting. And just watch that with the breath for a moment. So we want the belly to be completely soft, pelvic floor soft. And then as we breathe into the tummy, maybe feeling your waist, maybe feeling your spine, just everything expanding in every direction. And then moving up, noticing your rib cage. Gently again expanding in every direction as you inhale. And then that sense of the whole rib cage coming in towards your center, in towards your spine as you exhale. So maybe feeling the front of the ribs just above the bump, move forwards. The side ribs move out towards your arms, feel widening. And then the back of the ribs along the bra strap, can you feel that move backwards? So thinking of yourself in a round shape, moving in every direction. And then relaxing your shoulders and your elbows and your hands, letting the arms feel quite heavy on the knees. And if the chin's up in the air, just drawing it down a few degrees so you've got a really super long spine. So we're growing tall out through the crown of the head, and maybe noticing any sensations around the crown of the head. Maybe a lighter sensation. Good, and we're going to start with some really gentle warm-up. So we're just going to circle the body. So take a deep breath in through the nose, and a big sigh out through the mouth. Now as you sigh, just imagine you're holding onto your sunglasses in front of your mouth and you're trying to steam them up to clean them. So it sounds like quite a throaty breath that comes from the back of the throat. And then breathing in through the nose, sighing out through the mouth. It's a little bit like Darth Vader breathing. And once you've got that breathing going and your movement going, start to feel inside your hips, right deep in the socket. Probably feeling one side more than the other here. So then we're going to pause and make our circles go in the opposite direction. Deep breath in, deep sigh out. So relaxing the tummy, hopefully feeling really grounded, maybe even quite heavy through your base, through your legs. And then that lightness out through the crown of the head. So almost imagine you've got puppet strings pulling you up tall towards the sky. Really good. Now we're going to pause here and just swap the legs over. Just getting perhaps a less comfortable foot in front. And then let's circle one more time. So this time you should feel this in the opposite hip. Take that big breath into the belly, let the belly expand. Big sighs if you're steaming up your sunglasses to give them a clean. And then that sense of growing tall out through the crown of the head. So chin tucked in a few degrees, scruff of the neck is nice and long. Just really rocking and rolling, seeing how this feels deep in those hip sockets. And then we're going to pause and go the other way. So really lovely movement if you've been sat at a desk today, or if you've got any kind of aches or pains in the hips or the back. If it feels a bit twingy for anyone, just always make the movement smaller and slower. Good, one more breath here. And then gently come back to center. Okay, so we're going to release the legs now out in front of us and just start to get into the circulation. So just circling the hands and the feet. Just keep the legs nice and long, spread the fingers and the toes. Take a deep breath in as you circle, deep breath out. And then if you're okay here, you can bring your arms up over the head. Good. Keep breathing deeply, finding a rhythm with your breath. And we want to circle maybe a little bit faster, a little bit harder. So it almost feels like we're trying to stir through treacle now. It starts to feel like we just can't do this any longer. It's getting a bit tough. And then we're going to pause and just change direction. Take a deep breath in to energize if you're getting a bit tired. Big sigh out. If you've got any kind of swollen ankles or fingers with this heat in the summer, then this is a great move for you. Take one more breath and then just bring the arms all the way down. Just kind of flop slightly over the bump. Take a big sigh here and just relax. Soften the face, the shoulders, relax the elbows, and just notice tingles in the hands and the feet. So that tingling sensation is your circulatory system. It's that sensation of blood, fluid moving around the extremities. Really lovely. And then just give them all a little wiggle, hands and feet a little wiggle. Okay, so kicking out through the heels, activate the legs, toes are up towards the ceiling, kind of press the calves down onto the floor, and then press the palms away from you as you inhale, bring the arms up to the sky. Exhale, take it into a little side bend. Inhale back to center. Exhale, other way. Inhale to center. So we're just going to do this 2 or 3 times in each side. Just feeling that little bit of effort down the side of the body, that space around the ribs. Maybe feeling a little bit of work as you activate your feet, spreading the toes wide, and keep growing up tall through the spine. Good, and then keeping the legs where they are, I'm just going to bring the arms down behind our backs, interlacing the hands and just opening up the chest. And just breathing into the heart here. So relax the shoulders, keep a nice long neck, keep your feet active, calves pressing into the floor, and then lovely big breath into the chest. Lift the heart a little millimeter to the sky. Exhale, relax your shoulder blades, and now try to lift your hands a little bit higher behind you. See if you can lift your hands again on your next exhale. Take one more breath. And then gently release. We're going to roll the shoulders here and then just fold the legs underneath us as we press into the ground. We're going to come up into a kneeling position. So really simply in kneeling, you can have your pillow folded, pop it under your bottom. So you've got a little bit of height between your bottom and your feet. Hopefully that will just stop you getting pins and needles. And then have the knees open just a smidge so you've got lots of space for your bumps. And we're going to bring the arms back up over the head. This time interlace the hands and start to imagine you're holding a paintbrush, and we want to draw massive circles on the ceiling with that paintbrush in our hands. So taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Really wanting to feel the whole upper body, the ribs, really moving in this one. This is great for stimulating all the organs of the digestive system. So if you've been feeling a bit of nausea, or you've had a bit of heartburn, or you've been feeling bloated or constipated, it's very normal because the whole system does become a little bit sluggish, then this is a great move for you. Now we're going to pause and do our circles the opposite way. It's kind of like hula hooping without the hula hoop. So just really wiggling that body, taking that deep breath in, taking a deep breath out. I'm going to go for another couple of breaths here, but if you've had enough, if you're tired, you can always just bring the arms down, have a little rest, take a few sighs, and then join in when we move on to the next one. Good, then we're going to bring the arms all the way down and just roll the shoulders here, just taking them up to the ears, little squeeze, take them back and then drop. So you're just really getting into any neck and shoulder tension. Good, now place the hands in prayer at the heart. I'm just going to bow the head down And take a couple of sighs here, but this time sighing as if you're blowing out a candle. But the candle won't go out, so it's a really long exhalation. Or another analogy would be when you have the little bubble wands and you're blowing through the little hole to make a big bubble. And you're trying to make the biggest bubble you can. And we just want to take a couple of nice sighs here, allowing our heart rate to settle. Good, now sitting up really tall. See if we can lift the ribs away from the pelvis. I'm going to bring the arms out to the sides and just inhale, gently bring the arms all the way up. As they meet, turn to your left. Exhale, bring the arms all the way back down again. Inhale, back up to center. Press into your legs so you can lift up tall. Turn all the way to your right. Look over your right shoulder. As you exhale, lower the arms. Inhale, deep breath in, lift up through the ribs. Turn all the way around to the other side and exhale, looking at the corner of your eyes as you look behind you. Inhale, activate your hands as you stretch each and every fingertip, and then exhale. So a couple more of these, sweeping the arms, getting as tall and long through your torso as you can. So we're making lots of space for digestion and lots of space for breathing. And then we're going to exhale as the arms come down. Good, coming back to center. Let's take a few side bends just to make a little bit more space. Place one hand down on the floor. Just going to inhale, coming up and over. Pausing here, look up towards the ceiling. Now see if you can take your top arm, just lean it back ever so slightly, maybe an inch or two. So you're really looking up inside the elbow towards the sky, and just breathe into the kind of front of your pec, front of your shoulder, and then all the way down the side waist. So you're trying to make as much space as possible, just breathing in and then breathing out. So stretching out with your fingers, take one more breath, and on your next exhale, just very gently relax the arm and bring it all the way back down to the ground. Then we're going to lean into that other side. Inhale, reach up tall, and then bring the arm over, and then just take it back just an inch or so, just ever so slightly towards the wall behind you. Look up towards the ceiling and reach out with your fingertips, and take a deep breath into the side of the body. Deep breath out. So we really want to feel this down the ribs, maybe across the side of the bump, all the way down into the hip. So just helping eke out a little bit more room, helping with any growth spurts that you might have had. And then another big inhale and exhale, bring your arm out. Let's roll those shoulders again, up, back and down. And then this time with a little bit more kind of softness and fluidity, we're going to inhale up and then just sweep the arm round in front of you as you exhale down. Inhale up and over, and then almost rolling towards the center. Obviously being careful not to squash your bump. Just make it a nice sort of smooth, almost circular movement with the arm. Getting into the backs of those shoulders. And just do a couple more on each side. This is going to be the last set, just seeing if you can go just a little millimetre or two deeper for that last one. And then coming back to centre. Let's roll the shoulders here. We're going to press into the knees and we're going to move that pillow out of the way. Now for the next set, we're going to be kneeling on our knees. So if your knees are sensitive, you might want to kneel on the pillow. But just for visibility, because this can get in the way, I'm just going to move my pillow out of the way. But if your knees are sensitive, definitely use the pillow underneath. Now we're going to bring the hands down in front of us. And then what we're going to do is take your right leg out to the side. So it's in this lovely like triangle position. The toes are facing forwards. And then if you just roll on that foot, just to connect the outside edge of the foot onto the floor, and lift up through the arch, then the foot can feel really active. I'm going to relax that right knee. And then I'm going to lean into my left hand, press my left hand down onto the floor as I gently start to turn to the right, lifting the right arm all the way up to the sky. So I'm going to keep my chin in, spine long, crown of the head lengthening away from my tail. And as I reach up, I'm just opening the chest here and breathing in and out. Lovely big deep breaths. So just really enjoying that little twist. Now we're going to turn that right hand away from you and drop it all the way down behind your back. It will probably just graze your left hip, and you might even be able to get hold of your left thigh with your fingertips. And then just breathe into the shoulder here, because you'll get a slightly different way of opening across the chest. Just breathing in and out. On your next inhale, bring the arm back up. Exhale the arm back down to the floor. Now very carefully, we're going to walk the hands around to your left. So eventually, your left hand is in line with your knee and your foot. So they're all in one nice long line. Now your foot that was facing forwards, we're just going to turn the foot out now, so it's more at 45 degrees. And then if you need to come up onto your fingertips, just do if you feel a bit too low onto the floor, and start to roll your bottom under. So we're in a kind of nice diagonal line. And then we're going to bring the right arm up and over. So that diagonal line is going to go from the fingers all the way down the side of the body to the foot. And we're going to hang out here for a few breaths. If it's too much for anyone, you just roll out into kneeling and join us in a minute. Now, if you came up onto your fingertips, you might find after a moment's here, you can settle back down onto the palm. And now we're going to drop that top arm down towards the floor. So imagine turning yourself into a rainbow. Let's lift the waist up to the ceiling, press the foot down to the ground and the hand, and try to look up towards the ceiling, taking some deep breaths here into the tummy. So really lovely if you have had a growth spurt. And then just let your bottom kind of sink back behind you as you roll your body forwards and come all the way back to center. Now we'll bring that right leg in and we'll take a breath in all fours. Then take your left leg out to the side, toes forwards, plant the heel and roll to the outside edge of that foot. So you're really lifting the arch and the toes are facing forwards. Pressing down into your right hand, start to slowly inhale as you turn to your left and bring the elbow up and then the arm on your left hand as if you're reaching up towards the ceiling. And imagine again puppet strings drawing that arm up to the sky. So careful where you put your head. So don't let it just dangle. Keep the head level with the spine. Tuck in the chin and then look up past your thumb here as you breathe deeply in and out. Doing really well, everybody. Now we're going to turn that hand behind us, turn it away from you and drop the arm all the way down. See if you can catch the top of the opposite thigh with your fingertips. They may or may not reach, so don't worry if they don't. And then just breathe there wherever you can. It might be that the hand's just resting on the sacrum. That's absolutely fine. So see if you can find a point of ease, a moment of rest as you breathe fully. Keep the toes spreading wide. And then inhale, bring the arm all the way back up and exhale it down to the floor. So now we're going to take the hands and go for a little walk towards the right side of your body. So now the right hand is in line with your knee and the other foot. And turn that foot out, so about 45 degrees. If you need to come up onto the fingertips, do. Roll the bottom under, and then when you're ready, bring that top arm up and over. So from the side, you all look like beautiful diagonal lines. That's fantastic, everybody. Well done. Now, if you want a harder workout, you roll your bottom under more. If you want it a bit easier, just send your bottom back. Now we're going to go for the rainbow move. So dropping the hand down towards the floor, lift the waist up towards the ceiling and breathe into the belly. If the top arm is starting to fold forward, see if you can kind of lift it up and back so you could still look up under your elbow towards the sky. Take a deep breath in here and a deep breath out. I'm just going to take one more here, and then gently let your bottom sink back behind you as you roll your head and your arm back towards the front, walking your hands back round and bringing your knees back in. Wonderful. Now we're going to open up the knees as wide as the mat, settle your bottom down and walk the arms forward so you can bring your forehead onto the floor. Having a few lovely sighs there, just thinking and feeling the word relax. Now, if you struggle with getting your head onto the ground, you might need to open your knees a bit wider and try and lengthen and flatten your spine. Or you can just stack the hands one on top of the other so that your head can rest on the hands. It's really important you don't just dangle the head in the air. Now, as you exhale, imagine you can breathe out through the center of the forehead. Lovely big sigh, maybe as if you're blowing out a candle or blowing out the bubbles again. Just thinking and feeling the word relax. As you inhale, see if you can breathe into the belly, let the belly expand. Maybe breathe into the back of the waist. As you exhale, lengthen and flatten your spine. Maybe the head will move a millimetre further forwards on your mat. So these are all just suggestions, things to watch out for. Sometimes rather than things to do. Can't really make our backs lengthen and flatten here, but we can just breathe fully into the ribs and exhale, relax as much as we can. And maybe you can invite a bit of softening when tension releases out of the body. And maybe you can notice that you can make a little bit of space. Good. Take one more breath here. And then inhaling, we're going to walk ourselves back up. And then we're going to tuck the toes under. So just make sure your feet feel like they're still hip distance apart. So that means about 6 to 8 inches wide. So as we come up into this next one, we definitely don't want the feet to be touching, okay? It'll make it really hard. So my feet are going to be really underneath my sit bones. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to rock back up and open the knees wide. So I'm coming towards a squatting position. Now, feet wider, knees wider, keep lots of space for your bump. And then we're going to just move in and out of that squat by dropping one knee towards the floor and then the other. So it's got a real gentle rocking and rolling motion. Stay up on your fingertips if you feel like you haven't got too much space. If your bump's not so big yet, you can come down onto your hands. I'm just going to show you this move from the side. And why I've popped it in this evening is because it's really nice for opening up the pelvis and helping with issues around the coccyx, which I know one of you ladies was mentioning. Now, as you do the movement, see if you can find it like an almost semicircular movement with your bottom and with your knees. So you kind of round into it on one way, sit back, and round into it on the other way. And to release the coccyx, that happens when we're right sitting into our bottom. But we kind of don't want to stay there in a static pose. We just want to move in and out and explore this movement. Really good. Now we're going to put both knees back down onto the floor. Place the hands down and come into all fours for a mo. Spreading the hands wide. And just do a few lovely circles here. So great for backs, great for hips. Take a lovely big breath into the belly. And a nice long sigh out through the mouth. So it's that noisy Darth Vader sigh. As if you're trying to steam up your glasses again. And keeping the back long, quite flat. Just enjoy that little circle with the shoulders and the pelvis. Think about leaning into the hands and the knees. Now can we perhaps close the eyes here and draw our awareness inwards? And maybe slow the movement down. we'll make the movement a little bit smaller. Take our time over it. And then how does it feel when we pause and go the other way? Deep breath into the belly, lovely soft tummy, lots and lots of space for your babies. Deep breath out is an opportunity to ground. Connect into the hands and connect into the knees. As you exhale, feel firmly rooted onto the ground. Maybe just let the head slightly wiggle from side to side, just to release any tension around the neck. Good. Now we're going to tuck the toes under here. Walk our hands back and pick up the knees, both at the same time. Step onto your feet and then slowly inhale and walk up the body, rolling up, leaning into the heels so that you can come all the way up to standing. Good. And then when we get all the way up to standing, just come into a position with the feet hip distance apart. Toes can be forwards or slightly out to the sides. That's absolutely fine. Now we're going to go for some energizing arms. So just bringing the arms all the way up and dropping them all the way down. Take deep breaths in. We really want the knees bent here, and just let the arms kind of blow away the cobwebs. Now when you get the arms all the way up, see if you can actually bring them down behind you to tap your back. There we go. Try and lengthen the arms right up over your head. Big breaths in and out. Focus on really strong inhales here. That's going to energize you. And then let those arms come down. Last part, we're going to just gently spiral. Again, keeping the knees bent, tummy relaxed. Just spiral one way and the other. Letting the arms wrap around the body and the upper top of your bump. And looking out behind you, looking at a point, perhaps on a wall, out the very corners of your eyes. That's great, everyone. Well done. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Good. Now roll those shoulders again like we did in the beginning. Squeeze up to the ears, drop them down behind you. And then taking the hands behind the back, interlacing them once more, start to open the chest. And as you bend the knees, just start to tilt the body down. So we're just coming about halfway. So chest is kind of parallel to the floor. And then we're going to look forwards and then see if we can lift the arms up even higher. So you're going to just get this lovely feeling through the shoulders. Breathe into the belly. Bend the knees as you lower yourself down a little bit more. Lengthen the spine forward, relax the shoulder blades and lift the arms. We're going to take one more breath here, and then to come out, gently bring the head in, lower the arms, hands back to the knees, and round yourself all the way back up. So coming out really nice and gradually. And when you get to the top, let's do another little shoulder roll. Shake that out. Moving down into the pelvis, hands on the hips, again bend the knees. We're going to do a little figure of 8 movement with the pelvis. So I'm a bit closer for this. I'm taking my hips in a big circle one way and then a big circle the other way. And if you've got any kind of clickiness in the back, anything feels a bit twingy, you just make your movements smaller and slower. Good. And then pause and go the other way, which will feel a little bit awkward. So can we find that movement and make it feel less awkward, more comfy? So these pelvis movements were really useful. I really remember holding my baby and kind of shh, 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 and making the om sound, and doing this movement with my pelvis while they were kind of held over my shoulder. They found that so comforting that even when they were really irritated, they'd really calm down. So have this move, have like an om, little tapping of the baby's back up your sleeve, because it can be a really lovely way to settle them. Okay, and then moving down into the feet. Let's bring the feet in so they're underneath the hips. We're just going to do some little kind of roll-ups. If you feel unbalanced, hold on to the wall or a chair, whatever you've got nearby. We're just going to roll up onto the toes and then back down onto the heels. So if you can take a pause at the top and then back down. Don't worry if you wobble. And that pause at the top, see if you can just stay there for a little bit longer and just keep breathing. So you've got bent knees, we're rolling up onto the balls of the feet and trying to find a little moment where we can just hold the pose whilst we keep breathing, just to build up some solidity and strength in the calves and the thighs. So if you've done a few wobbly ones, go ahead and hold on to something like the wall, and then do a couple where you're not going to think about the balance, but you can stay up. I want to imagine you've got 6-inch stilettos on. I'm going to bend the knees a little bit more and just feel that work those thighs and those calves. Just bringing in a little bit of strength and then come back down. Well done. Now we're going to roll out and in with the feet. So rolling out onto the outside edges of your feet and then rolling in to the inside edges of the feet. The knees will come together at this point. And then rolling out, just seeing how it feels to take weight through that structure. And then rolling in. Keep breathing. Just exploring ranges of movement. Particularly useful as our bumps grow, your centre of gravity will drop. And when that happens quickly, if you've had a growth spurt, you can suddenly feel a bit unstable. So quite good to have a little play around with our sense of balance. And then coming back into feet firmly on the floor, I'm just going to open them up ever so slightly, a bit wider, toes out. Imagine you're holding a baseball bat. We're going to bend the knees and we're going to go for some really big swings. So we're going to take that baseball bat all the way over one shoulder and look behind you. And then we're going to swing it down and then take it all the way over the other shoulder. And then back down. So you're getting a lovely little kind of squatty movement. Again, leg strengthening. And you're getting some lovely movement through the upper body, the shoulders. Now breathe fully. If you're getting a bit tired, focus on those inhales. And or have a little rest and we'll come and join you in a moment. So just a few more here, as if we're hitting a baseball, holding our baseball bats. And then the final bit of this one is as you reach behind you, just separate the hands and reach up and down to the ceiling and the floor. There's a lovely stretch out with the fingers. That's it. You should feel this down through the back of those shoulder blades. Good, just do a couple more on each side. Lovely. And then back to center. So we're going to roll the shoulders here. Take a nice big deep breath in. Let's bring the hands into prayer at the heart. Exhale, little bend in those knees. And just take a moment to imagine that you're leaning back against that imaginary wall we talked about at the beginning. And it's made of clay. And just imagine you can lean back into that wall and make a lovely imprint of the back of your body. So chin in a few degrees, lean into the back of the head, lean the shoulders back, the bottom, the calves. Feel all of those edges that would mould into your clay wall. And just scan all the way down through the back of the body. And then start to go underneath the heels and feel the lovely imprint your feet are making down into the mat. Take a big sigh down and out of your feet. Now we're just going to make sure the legs are wide enough to come into a forward bend. So you probably have to just open the feet up just so they're a little bit wider, at least slightly wider than your hips. And then we're going to bend the knees out over the toes. I'm going to show you this from the side. And as you bend the knees out over the toes, slowly start to kind of round up and over the bumps. Bending the knees, allowing the tummy to come in between the thighs. Let your elbows rest on the knees, hands in prayer position. They'll be pointing to the floor. And then just drop the head. Lift the shoulders towards the ceiling. Bend the knees if you need to a little bit more. But see if you can tilt your bottom up to the sky and allow the head to drop down towards the ground. It's a lovely restorative pose. So just see if you can find a moment of almost giving up in it, giving in, letting go, surrender. Maybe that comes with a big sigh, big exhalation. And next, we're going to walk the hands onto the floor and step your feet back in and drop down onto both knees. So you come down at the same time onto those lovely knees. And then we're going to grab our pillows and turn around and sit back on our bottoms. Sitting all the way down, just back to where we started. Good, maybe just give the shoulders a little roll, make sure they feel all nice and loose. And we're going to bring this time the soles of the feet together in front of our body. If you find this really challenging, have the feet further away from you. And if you're okay with it, bring your feet closer in towards the groins. And it might be that you can reach the hands down around the feet. So do that if you can. And if not, you can just hold on to the shins or just underneath the bump, wherever's comfortable for you. Now, if you're holding on to some part of your body, try and roll your shoulders back and your heart forward and sit up as tall as you can. Chin down a few degrees. Just going to close the eyes here for a moment and take a deep breath into the tummy. And a big sigh out. And as you sigh and relax, can you relax your thighs? Maybe really feel that deepening sensation in the hip sockets. Now it can feel really lovely here to bring in some of those circle movements like we did at the beginning, just circling the body. And just seeing how that can get us a little bit deeper into the hips and the thighs. Be careful as you circle that you don't kind of fold in half. We don't want to fold down and squash the bumps, so we want to grow tall through the front of the body. There's always an element of getting tall out through the crown of the head. We want to feel rooted down into our base, into our sit bones, into our legs. Just make it a nice, lovely, easy move. And then we're going to pause and see how it feels to take it in the opposite direction. Keep the spine as long as you can. Shoulders back. Lots of space across the heart, across the collarbones. And just really easing into that lovely space in the hips and the pelvis. So making lots of space for the babies to nestle down deep into the pelvis. And hopefully giving you a bit more space for digestion and breathing along the way. Great, now we're going to take the hands and bring them underneath the knees. Lift the legs back up to center. And then take the legs out in front of you, so they're just nice and straight. So I'm going to bend your right leg up towards your chest. Make sure you've got about a good hand's width, maybe even 6 inches between your foot and your thigh. We don't want the leg to be touching the other one. We want a really good gap between the feet and the foot and the thigh. And where your bump might feel a bit squished, just kind of bring the bump more inside the inner thigh, so it'll feel like your thigh's giving your baby a little hug, but it's not too squished. I'm going to hook the elbow on the right side, and then bring your left arm down behind you. Press the fingertips into the floor to lift yourself up, and with that lovely tall spine, start to twist and look out over your shoulder. and out the corner of your eyes. Now your left leg that's long on the floor, kick out through the heel, bring the toes back towards your face, and kind of press the calf down a little bit into the floor. So you can get a lovely calf stretch here, maybe even feeling it down to the Achilles, up into the hamstrings. Keep drawing yourself closer in towards your bent leg and up towards the ceiling, and take a couple of huge breaths into the tummy. Well, this is another great one for digestion when things feel a bit sluggish. It's actually got the funny name of upward gas removing, so if that happens, don't be too alarmed. Just take one more big breath here into the tummy as you look over your shoulder all the way behind you. And then when you're ready, we just gently release the body back to center, undo the leg, and we're going to do that all on the other side. So kind of gently hoisting the bump into that inner thigh and having a really good 6 inches between the foot and the opposite thigh. Hooking the elbow so you can sit up tall, and then taking your right arm all the way down behind you, pressing into the fingertips so you can sit up really tall, almost proud, and then look out over your shoulders. Look out the corner of your eyes, chin down, scruff of the neck growing towards the ceiling. And then deep breaths here, ladies, right into the belly. Lovely, slow, full breaths in and out. And then when you're ready, once you've got the breathing going and the belly feels like it's having a little squish against the thigh, kick out through that long leg on the floor. Find the heel, kick it away from you, bring the toes back towards you, and gently start to feel that down through the calf and maybe up into the back of the thigh. Just see if you can find a place here to take a few more breaths, maybe easing a little bit deeper into your lovely open twist, but keeping your tummy soft and full of breath. Big inhale in, big exhale out. One more breath here. And gently allow the body to rotate to center and bring the other leg out. Fabulous. So we're going to bring the hands into prayer position. Take a breath here. And then just bow the head down. And as you breathe into the heart, can you visualize or feel a sense of spaciousness around your heart? It's an area that's very open when we're pregnant. That openness makes us very sensitive and it makes us very intuitive. So breathing into that lovely heart space. And then folding one hand onto the heart, taking the other hand to the baby, touching the bump. Bow the head and relax here for a moment. And just notice the sensations in the palms of your hands as you connect all of that intuition, wisdom, and unconditional love from your heart. And you really sit with that and share it with yourself, remembering to be kind to yourself and to prioritize self-care. And we're also sharing all that intuition, wisdom, and love with our babies. So sending it to them, maybe with a little smile. Feeling of love. And just connecting in with that sense of their presence. Enjoying any little nudges or kicks you might be feeling, or if they're sleeping, or if you're not at that stage where you notice that stuff, just enjoying their presence. Okay, well done. So just allowing the hands to come onto the floor, bowing the head down, take 3 big sighs here. just to ground into the hands as we close our practice. Taking a moment to connect with the earth through the buildings that we're in. And if there are any anxieties that have been bubbling away, just blowing them away into the ground now. Allowing the earth to soak it up for you. Getting that sense of stability from the contact with the ground. Maybe taking that feeling with you as you curl up onto your left side for your relaxation and Shavasana. So taking your time to get really comfortable, using the pillow folded up under your head so the neck's really well supported. If you've got uncomfortable hips from just sleeping on your side and you've got a sofa or a bed nearby that you can rest on, the extra padding will really help your hips. So do be comfortable and use the sofa or the bed if that's easy for you to do so. Make sure you're playing some nice music. When you're ready, closing your eyes and taking a few more of those sighs as if you're blowing through the bubble wand to blow out the biggest bubbles you can through a tiny hole in the lips. Inhale nice and fully. And then blow out an even longer exhalation. Watch that breath leave the body all the way to the end. And then do it again. Take another soft inhale. And then blow out the longest breath you can. Thinking and feeling the word relax. So this is the breath to practice at bedtime. This is the breath to use in between your contractions. And the idea is with practice, we'll end up being able to just do 1 or 2 or 3 of these breaths. And the whole body can melt into a state of relaxation, enabling us to drift off towards sleep, almost as if we've pressed the word relax or sleep on our own remote control. It's like on demand. This is a really useful tool for labour. Dozing off for a lot of it will help it feel like it goes by much quicker. Give you more stamina, more energy. So taking this rest now, letting go of the breath, and just feeling your whole body melting down onto the mat. Feel the imprint your whole body is making on your mat. And let your whole body sink down even deeper. We're going to notice sensations around the crown of our head. Light, maybe fuzzy sensations. And then allow the whole head to relax a little bit more heavily on your pillow. Soften all the muscles around your eyes. Allow the teeth to rest apart so that the jaw is completely soft. Observe your breath quietly coming and going without you having to do anything to it at all. Feel that gentle expansion and contraction in the ribs, in the belly. Relax the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, all the way to the fingertips. Feel the softness in your waist, the space between your hips. As you move down into the thighs, can you let them feel a little bit more heavy? The muscles, and then the bones of the thighs. Down into the knees, the calves, the length of the shins, and then down into the ankles. What do they feel like from the inside? Down into the feet, feeling the tops of your feet and the soles of your feet. And then down into your big toes, second toes, third toes, fourth toes, and then into the little baby toes. Having that sense of grounding from your feet down into the mat, through your building and into the earth. Allow yourself to rest there for a few moments longer until I bring you back round. Taking this chance to recharge. This kind of rest allows every single cell to repair and replicate, which is a big contributing factor to health and longevity. And we get it from deep rest. So let yourselves drift off now until I bring you back round. So we're gently going to start to come out of our Shavasana. Take your time, there's no rush. Just begin by taking a few deep inhales into your body. And start by listening to all the sounds you can hear around you. Maybe outside or elsewhere in your building. Inhaling, giving your fingers and toes a little stretch or a wiggle. Opening the eyes, noticing where you are and how you feel. And when you're ready, maybe having a little stretch, rolling onto your side, coming back up to sitting. Take your time. Well done. So, thank you all so much for practicing this evening. It's lovely to see you all. I hope you've enjoyed your practice. I'm just going to unmute you now so we can say our closing mantra to each other. We're going to bring our hands into prayer position, and to each other we say Namaste.
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 Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'm going to stay on the line now for a little bit longer.